Presented by Listen Headlines. Latest financial news from trusted sources. Updating daily noontime New York City.
BBC News Business.
January 28, 10:22 America New York, Flybe administration. Scramble to change plans after airline ceases trading. The airline said it was ceasing trading and canceling all flights, which affects 75,000 passengers.
Wall Street Journal U.S. Business.
January 28, 10 o'clock America New York, what CEOs are saying, the consumer is under pressure. Here's what leaders from Nasdaq, Microsoft, Tesla and elsewhere said about the economy, inflation and other topics this week.
Global economy.
January 28, 10 o'clock America New York, Republicans vow to probe U.S. banks' ESG agenda in Congress. Lawmaker Andy Barr says the financial system has been co-opted by the intolerant left. Marginal revolution.
January 28, 9:46 America New York, Saturday assorted links. 1. Forthcoming Netflix movie. They Cloned Tyrone. 2. The Great Automatic Grammatizator, by Roald Dahl 1954. 3. One account of how GPTs hallucinate. 4. More on Music LM from Google. Yet Google won't release the model.
New York Times Business.
January 28, 9 o'clock America New York, his boating app needed a boost. His daughter's TikTok audience came through. Jeff Folk spent years working on Argo Navigation, a GPS app for boats. After a TikTok video, it became one of the App Store's most popular products.
New York Times Business.
January 28, 8 o'clock America New York, buy now, pay later, is the victim of its own success. What once seemed like attractive economics have been upended by increasing competition and rising interest rates. Before it went public, the buy now, pay later company Affirm flagged its reliance on Peloton as a business risk. Global economy. January 28, 7 o'clock America New York, China's comeback turbocharges base metal prices. Industrial commodities, led by tin, have surged more than 20% in 3 months.
Wall Street Journal U.S. Business.
January 28, 7 o'clock America New York, the outlook for diesel. Supply woes aren't going away soon. Prices are unlikely to revisit last summer's peaks, but OPIS's chief oil analyst writes that tight supplies will continue to exert pressure on diesel markets in coming months.
Wall Street Journal U.S. Business.
January 28, 5:30 America New York, the jobless rate is at a half-century low. In these states, it's even lower. The red-hot labor market is showing signs of cooling, but in states like Utah and the Dakotas it has never been tighter.
New York Times Business.
January 28, 5 o'clock America New York, when private equity came for the toddler gyms. The same playbook that has notched high returns acquiring things like foreclosed homes and highway rest stops is being tested by a family-oriented franchise. Children's gym equipment at Teeter Tots Music and Motion in Frederick, Maryland.
Marginal revolution. January 28, 1:08 America New York, the voice of monetary policy. As I mentioned recently, a new version of the surveillance society is on its way. We develop a deep learning model to detect emotions embedded in press conferences after the Federal Open Market Committee meetings and examine the influence of the detected emotions on financial markets.
BBC News Business.
January 28, 010 America New York, Flybe. Regional carrier ceases trading and cancels all flights. The airline said in a statement that it had ceased trading and that all flights had been canceled.
Daily FX Market News.
January 27, 2059 America New York, GBP Weekly Outlook, Bow and Fed to dictate pound sentiment. GBP USD is trading at a key inflection point with next week's Bow and Fed rate decision to act as catalysts for short, medium-term directional bias.
Daily FX Market News.
January 27, 2030 America New York, expect a dollar breakout and potentially a S&P 500 trend next week with FOMC on tap. Though it may not seem the case, the dollar and S&P 500 have been in the same position through the end of this week, indecisive with a clear lack of core speculative conviction. The DXY's extreme range and SPX choppy climb will face serious volatility with a heavy docket this week, but can they find a clear trend?
Marginal revolution.
January 27, 2001 America New York, the educational culture that is New Jersey. For 4 days, a 29-year-old woman pretended to be a student at a New Jersey public high school. She attended classes, spent time in the guidance office and collected phone numbers from teenagers who helped her find her way through the maze of hallways, according to students and a school official.
Daily FX Market News.
January 27. 1600 America New York, US dollar technical forecast. USD support test into a heavy week of data. The US dollar took 4 months to wipe out 50% of a trend that took almost 2 years to build, but prices has been lodged at that halfway point now for 2 weeks. That will probably change next week.
Global economy.
January 27. 1500 America New York. Smart money is still wary of the equity rally. While markets have made a strong recovery, the prospect of more rate rises looms. The Library of Economics and Liberty.
January 27, 1234 America New York, #read with me. Power Without Knowledge Part 7, Friedman on Economists. As was evident in my previous posts in this series, Jeffrey Friedman thinks there are serious, systemic, possibly insurmountable problems with establishing an effective technocracy, whether it takes the form of a democratic technocracy or an epistocracy.
BBC News Business.
January 27, 1139 America New York, Adani Group, fortune of Asia's richest man hit by fraud claims. The report of fraud has sparked a mass sell-off in businesses led by Indian billionaire Gautam Adani,